Suryarachi, and I'm part of MillenniumIT ESP's marketing and comms team, and I will also be your host for the day. So today, to kickstart our MIT ESP's MiTech Tuesdays, which are basically mini webinars in which we intend to share our knowledge and expertise as well as speak on trending topics, we are here with a very interesting topic indeed. But before I on to introduce the topic or the presenter, let me encourage all of you to feel free to ask questions as soon as the session starts. Where how you can do that is by typing your questions on the right hand side of your screen on the Q&A feature. So in this inaugural session, we have chosen a very trending topic I mentioned, that is the low code, no code movement, which is actually shifting the power of application development from technical skilled people to citizens and business users in our entire aspect of the technology ecosystem. Now, today's speaker is somebody very special. He's Calvin Hindle. So Calvin is a thought leader and a technology evangelist with 7+ years of experience in the areas of customer experience, artificial intelligence, RPA, machine learning, as well as product development. Now, Calvin has also been recognized by Microsoft MVP in AI, and he's also a general council member at Slascom. Calvin, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Nadini, for that introduction, and a warm welcome to all of our participants in this webinar. So as Nadini explained, we will be talking about a really interesting topic, which is on low code and no code, and kind of see where the future is headed to in this platform and the reason of the hype of this technology, where to use low code and no code, and even we will show some of our product features which MillenniumIT is planning to launch, a few teasers, I would say, of our low code, no code platforms. And also we'll talk about the pros and cons on these platforms as well. So let me share my screen. Is my screen visible, Naduni?
Yes, now it is coming on.
Right. So before we get into the nitty-gritties, if you talk about the hype, now any technology, any emerging technology goes through a hype. Even Gartner says the hype cycle, right? And during this hype, there is a lot of technical jargon, over-exaggeration of feature and functionality, a lot of stuff which is thrown out there, which might not be working or which might not be practical at the moment. So that's the normal trend or the hype for any emerging technology. Now it's the same for low-code, no-code platforms as well. So if you look at the Gartner's kind of scale of emerging technologies and trends, if you look at the kind of yellow circle and see what are the technologies around this, as you can see, low code and no code is in the middle of itself, which means that this is a growing area. And if you can see on your right hand side, it says that low code and no code is already kind of disrupting traditional technology development, not in the next 5 to 6 years, but it's already happening right now. So the hype is real out there when it compares to the other technologies. So what is low code, no code? Is it the same thing or is it two different platforms? Now, if you take some of the leaders like Forrester and Gartner, this is what they say. Forrester says that low code, no code is a product or a cloud service for application development that employs visual declarative techniques instead of programming. So in a nutshell, for you to develop solutions, it can be applications or any other solutions, you don't need to actually write programming. Do saying that, it's not that easy, right? I mean, these are nice phrases out there, but things are not evolved up to that level where you don't need, coding. You still need some kind of technical skills. And then Gartner says the rapid application development features for development, deployment, and execution in the cloud. But in a nutshell, personally think this is what it means. If you look at no code, it's a visual-based drag and drop kind of development ecosystem where you don't need much technical coding skills. But no code won't fit for every problem in your business, right? It cannot do complex kind of solutions. If you are looking at very simple, focused, department focused, isolated solutions, no code might be the best platform fit for you. So when you come to low code, it also has some of the features such as no code, like visual designers, declarative workflows, drag and drop. but it also gives the flexibility for technical personnel and developers to write their own customized codes, which gives more flexibility if you want to expand and integrate to other applications and make more complex use cases as well. So these are the two differentiations, but most of the time you find these two features embedded together in the same platform. So is low code, no code revolutionary? I personally think it's not something revolutionary. It's not a very revolutionary technology, right? If you look at some of the already existing enterprise application development platforms out there, it can be ERP, CRM, human capital management. These industry-focused applications also provide the feature functionality for you to develop modules and solutions on top of this without programming. It has a functional configuration panel. But then again, a normal business user or a citizen developer won't be able to do this because you know breadth knowledge about the technology. Now that's why you have certifications for these products. You have consultants for these products, and the deployment cycle is much more time consuming. So low code, no code takes a notch top of this. So it makes it more and more easier for the day-to-day business user, citizen, developer. So the idea of low code, no code, how they market this is, the idea is if you have experience in using some of the spreadsheet applications like Word, Excel and PowerPoint, you can quickly get onto low code, no code platforms and develop your solutions. So again, saying this, it's a nice phrase, but it's not really up there right now. It's an evolving process. So if you look at the numbers, these are very amazing numbers out there. If you say Gartner says by 2024, low-code application development is going to take more than 65% of application development in enterprises. Just imagine that, 65%, right? So which is a huge kind of percentage and which shows the impact of this solution. And if you look at the market, it says it's $1 billion market out there, $13.8 billion in 2021. There are a lot of vendors who are getting onto this bandwagon of providing low code, no code kind of technology platforms to their customers. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, this has only increased. Now, what's the reason of this? So when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, businesses and organizations which were not natively agile and techno savvy didn't have any option, right? They needed to go out there. The retail stores, the SMEs, the manufacturing companies, they all needed to get into technology to communicate with their customer. So are they going to hire a development company and have a 6 months, 1 year project to go live? They can't do that. So this is where the low code, no code platforms came into play, which cut down development from years to months or months to weeks. Now this is the power of this platform, right? So there are some key characteristics when you come to low code, no code development. One of the main areas is rapid development. Like I explained previously, how can you go to market quickly rather than looking at traditional software development kind of mechanism, where you need to have requirement gathering with business users and all of that, which takes time. So one of the main key points is how you can go quickly, development quickly, and of course the agility. We are talking about agile, cloud, all of this. So low code also plays in this agility kind of role. And some of the other features like one button deployments, visual declarative. So visual declarative is without writing a single line of code, you can just drag and drop your user interfaces, your business rules, and you can set up application within hours or maybe weeks. And then this term of citizen developers. Now citizen developers came to play with low code, no code platforms. So what is a citizen developer? Citizen developer is either a user or a business user or a person who doesn't have much technical skills, doesn't have idea of programming or whatsoever, but he knows the business domain and the requirement for his problems. So these are the ideal users that can leverage these platforms. And then cloud native. Most of the low code, no code platforms are cloud native. There are some platforms also which are getting out of the cloud native kind of biasness. But most platforms are cloud native because it takes care of the entire infrastructure and the platform security, all of this. Multi-experience. Now, multi-experience is in deep configuration with the low code, no code platforms. Most of the low code, no code platforms provide this multi-experience kind of features where you can quickly deploy applications which will support multiple devices and screens, either mobile phones, mobile web browser, mobile responsive browsers, web applications, augmented reality, all of this. And then AI enabled. So now the modern low-code, no-code platforms not just provide drag and drop and take the automation of repetitive work, but they also provide features to make your application more smarter. They provide AI features like OCR, computer vision, natural language processing, machine learning classification, all of this. And the thing is, you don't need to have any kind of data science, kind of machine learning engineering skills. By configuration level, you can kind of get these features up and running. And template based. So most of the platforms in the low-code, no-code phase are template based. For example, there can be a template which is already configured for employee onboarding or customer experience, where the interface, the workflows, the database integrations are all pre-configured. So the users just need to reuse that template and customize here and there with to facilitate to their requirement. So the impact of low code, no code is very high, as I explained, giving the power back to the business users. Now, this is a very important, powerful point, because as you know, business users know the exact requirement for their business. And always, as you know, there are a lot of challenges in articulating the business requirement to the technical person and developing the solution. There are enough and more references in the industry where the end product didn't meet the business requirement. But now what happens is low code, no code completely takes out that burden and gives the business user the capability to define the applications and go to market, true agility, like I explained. And even if you want to develop a minimum viable product and check the pulse out there, you need to do that quickly. You can't be spending months and years of developing MVP. Sometimes your competitor might develop something else. So low code, no code platforms provide the capability to quickly develop MVPs, the most important core features, and go to market. So, like I said, democratizing the technology and giving the power to every citizen developer out there. This is the most important movement in low code, no code. It is how we take that technology and give it to everyone. So everyone has a fair playing field, right? Some people might be tech savvy, some people might be not tech savvy, but everyone has the tools now to play fair. And if you have the creativity, you can develop really great solutions. And that's the main movement in low code, no code. So when we talk about technology agility, so technology agility is something which all of us speak about. We started with, legacy heavy on-premise application. And then what happened? Cloud came into the picture, and cloud said, hey, don't worry about this infrastructure, security, platforms, and all of this. We'll take care of it, right? We'll take care of it. You worry about your solution. Just develop the solution on top of it. And through, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, we'll take care of all of this. You just worry about your solution. Now, what does low code, no code say? It says we'll take care of your platform infrastructure, and we'll build the solution for you. You don't need software engineers to do that. You just come to our platform, and if you have an idea, just drag and drop and do it, right? And then comes natural language processing, which I'll show you, which is extremely an amazing area, where things like AI paired programming, where you just need to type and tell the engine what you want to do, and it will build it on behalf of you. So this is where true agility is going, right? You can see how the evolution of true agility in business is happening out there. So walk the talk. Now, as I said, in any emerging technology out there, there is a lot of technical jargon, marketing jargon, over exaggeration, things that might not be, very practical right now. Even in low code, no code, we see this. So the idea of low code, no code is they say, you don't need technical skills, you don't need programming skills. If you have an idea, you can build application like building Lego boxes. But the true factor right now is it's not really out, it's not really ready now. There are many organizations who have bought low code, no code platforms and given it to their business users, thinking, right, the business users will come up with solutions. But no, it doesn't happen. Some of the reasons can be they don't have time, and the other reason may be that these platforms are really not user-friendly. Now, I want to talk about a really interesting thing. Now, why I brought social media out there. Now, if you look at some of the social media apps out there, like Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok, right? If you take TikTok, it's actually a mini video production software, right? there are so many things you can do there. You can produce mini videos, using AR effects, certain AI effects. And if you look at the majority of users, yes, there are a lot of millennials, but there are a lot of mature people as well. So see how quickly they get hooked onto this application within a couple of days. So why can't we use the same science for low code, no code platforms? Because organizations spend a lot of money in these platforms where they expect the business user to get onto this and use their creativity and build solutions, but it doesn't happen like that. We all know. So I think we need to look at the science, how to make a low code, no code platform viral within an organization so that each of the business users will use it and start building solutions, right? So there's a science of this. It can be the user friendliness, it can be how you make it can be certain gamification techniques. So I don't think simply having drag and drop features and claiming that this is free, you're not going to get the full benefit. How we position it and how we make the users hook onto it also is very important. So there are different kind of levels of low code, no code platforms, which we call the low levels and the high levels. So low levels are mostly, these might not be, very much directly used by business users or citizen developers. These low level stuff might be used by technical people who have some kind of programming background, but they will use this to make their life easy, to take some of those repetitive work out there and make life easy and speed up their development. Now, the high level stuff is where actually the business users and citizen developers start using this. The drag and drop UI designers, the workflows, and all of this. So you will find two levels of these kind of platforms in the market. Now, when you talk about low code, no code, most of us think that it's only enterprise application development. But low code, no code is now spreading to almost all verticals in the industry, from machine learning, AI, workflows, integration, extended reality, all of these areas. So we'll take a few areas and we'll talk and kind of understand what are the main characteristics. Now, if you go with enterprise applications, if you see the Gartner reports on your left-hand side, it shows you some of the big players already out there in the market, like Salesforce, Microsoft, Zoho, Oracle. Now, the kind of interesting part about this is, before they launched their low-code, no-code platforms, these were all industry-specific enterprise solutions, right? If you look at Microsoft, they have the dynamic CRM, Oracle has CRM, and Zoho, all of these are CRM and enterprise products related to different type of areas, ERP and so on. But now they realize the importance of low-code, no-codes, and now they have adapted a low-code, no-code module on top of this. And then if you look at the right-hand side, you look at the multi-experience platform. As you can see, some of the low-code, no-code platforms are in fact multi-experience platforms as well, because I explained most of these platforms provide multi-experience kind of applications which will support web, mobile, conversational, AR, VR, all of this. So you will find that the low-code, no-code platforms also is actually a multi-experience platform as well, which should support different type of channels and devices and so on. So getting into the enterprise application area, so the idea is, as you can see, how we can transform this lengthy coding to a kind of easy kind of user interface like this, right? This is one of the main areas that is transforming in these platforms. So as you can see, you have these drag and drop builders, validations, so front-end validations, right? Mandatory fields, and then customizations, templates, multimedia. These are some of the suspected features in any enterprise low-code, no-code platform. So apart from this, you also have the business workflows. Now you design your interfaces and make it more fancy and customize it, but you need to define your business workflows, right? The entire end-to-end user journey. So you can simply drag and drop and do this. So just imagine if you need to develop this ground up, you need to, maybe develop the application as a 3-tier architecture, right? Write your business logic separately, write your microservices, front-end database. But low-code, no-code provides you one workspace where you can define everything just by drag and drop. So you have business rules, integration and plugins. So these platforms also provide the capability for pre-built plugins if you need to integrate your CRM or Salesforce or service ticket application, and decision trees, notifications. So notification, like if you want to notify your users with SMS and email. So all these features are pretty much inbuilt and make the life easy for you to develop solutions. So this is one of the leading platforms from Microsoft. It's called Microsoft Power Platforms. So most of you must be using Microsoft O365, and it comes along with most of the licensing. So this is one of the tier one platforms where you have all the capabilities. So not only just application development, but the data science, reporting, the RPA, all of this embed to one platform. It's kind of a really leading platform out there with the other areas as well. So then the multi-experience. So I explained about multi-experience. So multi-experience is not only about mobile responsive or fitting into a mobile application. Now we have gone past those. So we are looking at augmented reality, mixed reality, conversational. So I just did a demo, couple of maybe months back, where I used the Microsoft Power Platform, and within a couple of minutes, I configured a augmented reality application, right? So the platform lets me create the mobile application and drag and drop the fields, and also drag and drop my 3D assets and develop a really easy augmented reality application within minutes. So if anyone is interested out there to see how I have done this, I have shared it on my YouTube channel. And you can just simply scan this QR code. I will just give you a couple of seconds to do that if you are interested. So in this demo, I will be showcasing how it's very simple to even develop mixed reality, augmented reality platforms using low-code, no-code technology. And then the conversational. Now, this is another area that is kind of trending, and it's kind of disrupting how users interact with software. Now, how much we talk about that, the industry is developing all of that. Even the interfaces are fancy. They can be mobile responsive. All of that. End of the day, still users go and enter information to a form, right? To fields. But now that's changing. Where things are headed to is that customers, if they want to interact with a business or a user with a software, they are not going to enter data or open up lengthy forms. You just talk to the software. This is where things are headed to. Some of the latest innovation from OpenAI like GPT-3, state-of-the-art NLP, which I'll show you in a couple of slides. This is where things are headed to. People might not even download mobile applications again. They might use existing channels like WhatsApp, or go to a chat interface and chat and say, this is what I want to do. So these kind of experience are changing out there. And then the team collaboration. So most of the low-code, no-code platforms provide the DevOps capability within the solution, where they can collaborate with the technical people, business people, and business users, and so on. And then AI connectors, like I explained, most of these platforms have pre-built, pre-trained models. That means you don't need to spend lengthy hours of training your models. All the models are pre-built in terms of OCR, in terms of NLP, face recognition, classification. So just a button click away or a few configurations, you can enable them. And then community marketplace. Now, this is a very interesting area that most of the low-code, no-code platform vendors do. They build the solution and they give some of the features open source, and they open it out to the community. Opening out to the community is giving that innovation to a next level, right? You open out technology to the community is going to innovate on top of your platform, which you cannot do uh, uh, with just your employees. So it's a good strategy for any low-code, no-code platforms out there, where they open up the platform to third-party community and they develop on top of it. So another customer maybe can utilize those, right? These are some of the areas that we see. So that was about on low-code, no-code enterprise application development. Now we are getting into the AI, low-code, no-code AI. If you look at this diagram, you will see some of the top platforms that provide features to develop and deploy AI technology without writing a single line of code, such as Microsoft, Amazon SageMaker, Microsoft ML services. Then you have Google, AutoML, various type of technologies. So the concept of data science, citizen data science, came to play with this platform. So the term of citizen data scientist is this type of user doesn't have much knowledge about building, machine learning models by writing, maybe Python script on, kind of Jupyter notebook or anything like that, but he knows the business domain and he might be having some statistical skills. So the idea of taking this length is, if you can see on your left hand side, it is your traditional, which we call a notebook, which you kind of write maybe Python language to load your data, do feature engineering, then divide the data into training and training and testing, run your data through multiple algorithms to find the optimized one. So it's a lengthy kind of process. So transforming this to this, where you don't need to write a single line of code, you just drag and drop your data, build the modules, cleansing, and even the platform will select the optimized algorithm for you after running multiple iterations. So it cuts down your machine learning R&D and model kind of designing maybe by more than half, right? Maybe you took months and months to develop this. Now it might be taking weeks. So this is where things are headed to in terms of, low code, no code in machine learning, right? So look at this one, low code, no code vision platforms, right? Now, if you have used a platform like Facebook, where you upload a picture maybe of yourself and your friends, and you tag you tag your friends, right? If you want to do that, you can develop a computer vision platform with this. You just upload the pictures and you kind of drag and drop where the kind of vision recognition module needs to be retrained, and you just hit train. Within minutes, you are building computer vision capabilities. That's the level of flexibility these platforms are headed to. Now, when it comes to edge computing, so the previous one was computer vision on cloud, but as you know now, a lot of the AI models are now, transforming into the computer edge, right, on-prem without connectivity of cloud. So even edge computing AI models are now pretty much low-code, no-code. If you see this left-hand side example, which I took from one of these developers, this is a kind of a computer vision model which was deployed on Raspberry Pi, and what it does is it identifies whether the person is wearing specs or not. Now, to develop this model, this is the interface and the application. You just upload kind of images and train your model, and you can deploy it on your devices at the edge, not even cloud, right? So this is another platform. Now, when it comes to AI, we talk about vision recognition. This is actually natural language processing. So natural language processing is all about how your AI models can understand human language when you're typing, chatting, and even when you're having, speech to text kind of areas. Now, this is a platform from Google, which is called Dialogflow, where you can build custom NLP models for chatbots and digital assistants with just configuration levels. Whereas if you needed to do this on scratch, it will take so much of time and so much of data that you need to train this. So that was the topic. We spoke about low code on enterprise application. We spoke about low code on AI. Now comes low code on RPA. So as you know, RPA, hyper automation, these are some of the other hyped up topics in the industry. So there is, traditional classic RPA and hyper automation. So hyper automation is, even though the name is fancy, it's about how you kind of integrate traditional classical RPA and workflows with features like AI, like OCR, computer vision, classification, NLP. So as you can see, this market is growing, right? At this year, it's a $532 billion market. And if you look at some of the top players out there, you have top vendors like UiPath, Automation, Enia, and Microsoft. And these platforms also provide this kind of low-code, no-code, right? Where they provide the drag and drop capabilities, configurations, and so on. So the same kind of features you see across all of these technology ecosystems. Now, is it only some of the mature technologies? But if you look at blockchain, now blockchain is a highly technical area where even sometimes if you have a background of software engineering, you need to do a lot of training and R&D to build this kind of blockchain technologies, because it's a whole different development ecosystem, not like the traditional development. It's quite different to develop these smart contracts, ledgers, and all of this. But as you can see now, even blockchain is having low code, no code, right? Just a couple of clicks with a couple of forms, you develop your nodes and smart contracts. This is a small example. As you know, IBM's Hyperledger is one of the leading frameworks, and this is a low code kind of interface which is developed on top of that. How easy it is right now. So is it only the technology ecosystem? Now, if you look at gaming, now to develop a game, Couple of years back, you need to know low-level languages such as C and C++. But if you look at platforms like Unity, so Unity is one of the leading gaming development platforms. It also provides low-code. Look at their marketing. How to make a video game without any coding experience, right? So this is where things are headed. So not only gaming, if you look at music, right? Now you see a lot of music producers coming out, right? We call them bedroom music producers. Why? Because the software provides these kind of drag and drop capabilities. You don't need to go to $1 million studio. With your laptop, you can, produce music, all drag and drop, right? Then we are coming into some of the open source features. If you look at some of the open source enterprise platforms, low-code, no-code platforms, Jogot is one of the most interesting ones I have seen. You can see most of the features are open source, and you can kind of use some of the workflow, the kind of graphical interface designers, and so on. And there are a lot of pre-built plugins as well. So then we come to another interesting topic called AI pair programming. Now, which is taking it to the next level. Now, we spoke about low-code, no-code applications just by drag and drop. Now we are going to the next level, where an AI engine will build the platform or build the code according to what we say. Now, these technologies are increasing with this kind of natural language processing techniques like GPT-3, which is one of the state-of-the-art NLP models. If you have heard of BERT from Google and all of that, GPT-3 is one of the top ones, which is done by OpenAI. And now Microsoft has collaborated this GPT-3 model with their repository platform called GitHub, and they have created a wonderful solution called Colabs. So I would like to kind of show you that how it works and a kind of small introduction. So let me just show you share my browser for a minute. Naduni, I hope my browser screen is visible.
Yes, Calvin.
Right. So this is actually called AI paired programming, right? Now, for developers who is out there, know how lengthy it is to develop codes, right? And I just want to take this example out there. If you can see, this example is all about doing a sentiment analysis for a text. So sentiment analysis is something that the AI engine will read the text and tell whether this is negative, positive. Take example, if a customer has posted something on social media on your brand and you need to know what this is all about, you run a sentiment analysis kind of NLP model and check whether this is negative, positive, or whether this customer is unhappy, and so on. So you just tell this engine determine whether the sentiment of a text is positive using a web service, and the entire code is done for you, right? And if you go to even developing, creating databases, you just use the commit and the code is written for you. So don't get me wrong, this is not about autocomplete. Autocomplete is a different thing. What most of you software engineers know when you're developing using IDs. This is not autocomplete. This is much smarter than that, where this model has been trained using billions of lines of code from public code sets, right? So it's trained. And just imagine how this is going to transform software development, right? Forget about DevOps. Just imagine the impact this is going to have. And I want to share you another interesting use case as well, where this is taking it to another level. Let me just show you that video as well. All right. So I'll have to play the video, but you might not be hearing the kind of the audio, but you can see the video screen, right?
Yes, Calvin, we can say it.
So I'll explain it what happens here. So basically what these guys are doing is they have built a model. Now, for example, let me just play it from here. What they do is they give the instructions on this platform, and they basically tell what the platform to do in natural language, right? So for example, they would say, write this code or create this application for me, and the platform itself will do the entire application and the backend coding, everything to do. So as you can see, it says make a web page that says our message, right? It's just giving commands in natural language processing, and when it executes it, as you can see on your right hand side, all the coding is done for you, right? Which is quite amazing, the level of kind of AI technology which is inbuilt, because it goes through billions of lines of coding and referring to classifications and so on. So this is where things are headed to. this might not be very much in par with, in business user kind of application development. But personally, I think the future is going to be very bright, where you might not even need to use a low code, no code platform. You might be able to talk to your, platform and, get this work done. And see, it says now complex stuff like this, start a Python web service. That is a very kind of a complex scenario that you need to do in the back end, and everything starts running, and even it gives a port for you. And when you put your port and run the application on your local host, the application is running, right? I mean, some of you software engineers might be thinking, oh, what's going to happen to our jobs right now? So that is some interesting stuff that I want to show you. So let me just go back to my presentation right now to go through the final few slides. Is my screen visible now, Naduni?
Not yet. Yes, all good to go, Calvin.
Right. So we spoke about kind of GPT-3 and its features, and I spoke about Colab. Now, this is where I want to bring this slide again, right? We spoke about cloud, we spoke about drag and drop. Couple of coming years, you just will need to talk to your platform. The platform will develop it for you. Even though I say this, it might not be the case, but it's very inspiring to get to that level, right? As you can see the transformation happening. It doesn't mean that, you won't need technical skilled people to do this. You definitely need to do that. Otherwise, we'll lose our jobs, right? But the idea is it's becoming more agile, and most of this boring, repetitive work will be taken care of smart applications where you need to then use your creativity to build state-of-the-art solutions. Now, where to use low code and no code? Now, you can't use low code and no code everywhere, right? For example, when you're selecting a low code, no code platform, you need to understand the complexity of your requirement. Now, if it's a very straightforward kind of isolated department-wise kind of requirement, probably a no code platform will fit for you. Because you won't need to integrate this solution to multiple other application in your ecosystem and so on. So no code is not a good, no code is good for single business user and department problems. But there is a lot of problem when it comes to low code, no code. It creates this shadow IT, because when you give the business users the flexibility to develop solutions on your own, if once they start developing, your IT department might not know what is happening, right? There will be a lot of security glitches, a lot of kind of integration problems. So it creates this kind of shadow IT problem. So I would say you need to have a balance, right? You don't just give away a platform and not having a proper kind of strategy for your business and digital transformation. So no code platforms, if you look at no code platforms, it's very much hard to scale up. But of course, low code, as I explained, because it provides this flexibility to write or customize coding and all of that, it provides the flexibility. And most of the problems you find in low code, no code is the vendor locking, right? Because you develop the applications on top of the vendor, but the flexibility of taking it out of that container and putting it to another place, some of the applications you don't see that, but a trend is coming where you will be able to do that as well, because eventually people will need to adopt, right? Some of the competitors start adopting these, users are going to go to that, so that will also happen. So we are coming to some of the final few slides, and I want to talk about what MillenniumIT is doing. We spoke about all of these fancy stuff, but what are we doing? So as a company, we use a lot of low-code, no-code platforms for our internal process automation when it comes to some of our HR processes, some of our financing like reconciliation, all of this. We use some of our RP technologies. And also when we are building solutions for our end customers, we use some of the low-code, no-code technologies as well. For example, when we need to quickly develop some of the intelligent AI capabilities, we don't go and try to kind of reinvent the wheel, and some of the RP technologies. Apart from that, we like to kind of announce and give a teaser that we will be launching our very own low-code, no-code platform, which we call the Vision platform. And we want to actually redefine how low-code, no-code is done. We want to actually give the power back to the business users. So we are launching this very soon. This is just a teaser, but already we have started working on industry verticals of low-code, no-code. For example, we have our global award-winning telemedicine teletherapy platform, which is a low-code, no-code platform, which We have a couple of customers already using it, which we can digitally transform any healthcare institute or hospital. You don't need to develop the functionalities round up. With a few configurations, you can define the patient onboarding, the patient assessments, the two-way communications, reporting. There are pre-built mobile application white label on iOS and Android, mobile responsive. So this is a global award-winning product. We recently got recognized as the Microsoft Partner of the Year from 100 countries and 4,000 submissions, right? Which is good even for Sri Lanka to get that recognition. And then we have some of the local recognitions as well, like NBQSA, Iswabimani. And also we have the low-code, no-code for the banking ecosystem. We have our low-code, no-code platform for eKYC and video KYC, which we are taking up to market. Pre-configured kind of AI functionalities like OCR, and we have developed our own face liveness and spoofing models using TensorFlow, and train this so that you don't need to retrain this. They are being trained for some of the local NICs, passports, and all of this. The platform is fully configurable, and our idea is to get a bank to digital onboarding within weeks, not months, right? They can define the KYC on their own. And then also we have the products for interview automation. As you know, these days, you cannot have physical interviews. So most of the companies, they use the traditional kind of video interview platforms, but it's still hectic. As you know, video interviewing and interview is a very time-consuming process. So we want to take that burden and automate some of the repetitive work. And also we want to give some of the AI insights, using some of the emotion detection and all of these technologies to kind of help you select the best candidate out there. So I think I come to the end of this webinar, and we will take whatever questions out there, and I would like to answer some of them. So Naduni, if there are any questions, we can take them out there.
Yeah, Calvin, first of all, thank you so much. I must admit, I too ended up learning some new stuff today. A very interesting session, Calvin. And yes, a reminder to all of you who have joined us today, you can ask your questions through the Q&A tab, which you can find on the right-hand side of your screen. Calvin, actually, I've got a couple of questions, sorry. Until any new questions come, let me have a look at those. Those had come to me directly. Oh, yeah. So somebody has asked us how to select the best low-code, no-code platform for your organization.
Yeah, so I think I covered this also through the slides, Naduni. So basically, like I explained, it depends on your business requirement, right? If it's a kind of end user, isolated, simple use case. Now, defining simple use case might vary according to the actual business requirement, but you can take characteristics, right? If you don't need to customize the solution, or if you don't need to integrate to the existing kind of IT ecosystem, and it's a kind of department level, I would say, use case, a no-code platform would definitely fit, where the business user can quickly come up with a solution and define. But if you are looking at providing quick development and agility, as well as complex use cases like integration and maybe customization, then probably a low-code platform. But most of the time, you find both of these together. It's up to the kind of business to understand what are the modules that they would use. Naduni.
Right. I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much for reaching out. The second question I've got, Calvin, is do you need some sort of programming knowledge to get started with low-code, no-code application development?
Well, it's like this. Now, as I mentioned, the marketing jargon says that you don't need, but personally, and a lot of the technical folks out there will agree that that's not the case, right? You at least need some idea of how application works. Maybe if you have some business analytics skills, business analysis skills, where at least a granular or high level how an application functions. So if you have that kind of understanding, you can develop applications using low code, no code. Because as of now, even though the market says you don't need coding developed, it's nice to say that. But as of now, with the technology features, I don't agree personally. probably in the future, in a couple of years, definitely, as you see with the technologies trending. So I would say not having hard code programming, but some level of experience of how application functions, or some level of experience of user experience or user experience design, I would say is needed for this, Naduni.
Right, right. Okay, one more question that just came through, Calvin. They're asking limitations on low-code, no-code based AI ML platforms.
Right. So there are a couple of, I think, limitations. Now, one of the biggest limitations that I have personally seen when I'm using this kind of low-code, no-code ML platform is it only provides a very maybe a few algorithms for you to test, and also it's not a good platform if you're building complex deep learning models, right? Most of the time you find these low code no code on machine learning, but if you're dealing with a lot of data and you need to develop complex deep learning models, I would not think that a low code drag and drop machine learning platform would help you. But there are other kind of capabilities like AutoML. So AutoML is also kind of part of this, can be part of this, where it helps you do the iterations of training and select the best kind of algorithms. So these are some of the, I would say, the limitations we see, but definitely things are evolving. More and more additional features are getting added, daily, right? So I think the future will be great for even low code, no code AI platforms as well.
Right, Calvin, thank you. Let's wait if there's any other questions. All right. Okay, somebody is asking, Calvin, any open source, low code, no code around RPA, ML, and application development?
Yeah. So in RP, of course, there are a couple of. One that I can remember of right now is the platform called Robot, which has a robot RPA platform, which has a huge community, and you can deploy unattended, attendant bots. But I personally don't know whether it has the AI configuration modules such as other leading vendors. When it comes to the kind of application development, uh, the platform which I mentioned as Joget, Joget, is a good open source enterprise platform. And if you look at the other platforms like, open source, you find a lot of the open source stuff from Google and Microsoft, and even platforms like H2O, which are some of the leading kind of AI platforms. I personally think with my experience, there might be more, but right now, this is what I can remember right now.
Right, right. All right, so do we have any other questions, guys? Let's give it a few seconds, Calvin. Let's see if there's anything else.
Right.
Okay, if you have any questions right now, guys, don't stress. You can see Calvin's details on the screen right now. You are free to reach out to him at any point. You can contact him through his email ID directly. Let me just see if there's any other question once again. Yes, there's one more question, Calvin. How would the role of a developer change with such adaptations in the market?
That's quite a good question. I would say the role of a developer would change in a kind of hybrid way, right? I don't see a developer fully, utilizing low code, no code alone. Definitely, it will be a hybrid kind of way where the developer utilizes certain repetitive work to be taken care of the low code, no code platforms, maybe such as uh, maybe taking um, the effort of developing the UX UI screening, right? Or maybe the business workflows. So maybe the future would be that developers will work along with the low code, right? It's not that they are going to forget about programming forever. It will always be a kind of hybrid way, which actually adds value to the developer's life because it makes him, more agile and build the solutions more faster and get the solutions out there more faster, I think.
Right. Thank you, Calvin, for that. So I think, Calvin, that was the last question I can see. So we can conclude today's session. Of course, I invite all of you to join us again on September 28th for another interesting session. So sorry about that noise. You will be able to see all relevant details about our next MiTech Tuesday on our social media platforms from tomorrow onwards. Until then, do stay safe. And that's all from me today. Calvin?
Yeah, thanks a lot. And please get in touch with us if you have any kind of inquiries, or email me, or you can contact me from LinkedIn. Happy to always share the knowledge with the community. So take care and stay safe. Hopefully we will connect with you with the other session, which is also going to be interesting topic on AI. And thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.